Hi, besties. Welcome back to the Bestie Talk podcast. I'm your host, Kiannajit, and today I am going to teach you guys how to finally realize, how to really understand that you are that bitch. You, my love, you are that bitch. This isn't going to be a how to become that bitch because you already are that bitch. You just need to wake up and realize it. Wake up and smell the roses, honey. You need to realize that you really are that bitch. And I'm going to teach you how to realize it and unlock that part of your brain so that way you can start living your life like you really are that bitch because you are that bitch. Okay. You're going to hear me say bitch about I don't even know how many times. We could turn this into a drinking game that every single time that I say the word bitch, you guys take a drink. It could be of an iced coffee, an iced matcha, or it can be of a fucking margarita. I don't care. Turn this into a drinking game. Turn this into a self-love affirmation. Every time I say the word bitch, y'all make sure you do a self-love affirmation. Do whatever you got to do because I'm going to say bitch a million times today. I just realized I'm like, oh my God. And I have the mouth of a sailor, y'all. That's something my mom will always be telling me, like, Kianna, I think that you need to stop cussing so much on Bestie Talk. Like, it's a lot. And I'm like, honey, that's who I am to my core. I am going to cuss like a sailor. So if y'all don't like it, sorry, but that's just me. I'm going to keep cussing all day. I don't think I'll ever stop. So we're going to be saying the word bitch a lot today because we are that bitch. First of all, I want to tell a little story about when I was in beauty school. If you don't know, I am a waxer. I'm a licensed esthetician. And I've been a licensed esthetician for quite some time now, but I was in beauty school and I have always used the word bitch as an endearing term. And I thought that it was like every single girl felt the same way, that bitch is an endearing term. Like if I call you bitch, like, hey bitch, what's up bitch, you that bitch, whatever the hell, I am saying it in an endearing way. I have never ever said like, oh my God, she's being such a bitch and meaning it in like the most derogatory word possible. And I will never forget, I said that in beauty school once, and this girl was so upset with me because she literally took it to the principal of the school and was like, she called me a bitch. And I was like, I said, hey bitch, what? I literally said, hey bitch. And she was so upset. It got crazy, you guys. It literally got so crazy. I wasn't allowed to speak to her anymore because she thought I was actually calling her a bitch. So I just wanted to say, just so you guys know, I'm using the word bitch as an endearing term. We have taken that word back. Bitch does not mean what these men out here try to make it mean, like, oh my God, she's such a bitch. You bitchin', da 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 da. Nah, we're bitches, but we're cute bitches, okay? We have taken back that word. Bitches means cute, means cutesy, means that girl, means Miss Queen, means everything, okay? That's what bitch means. So if you don't like the word bitch and you think that the word bitch is like a mean, derogatory word, honey, this is not the podcast for you. I'm just letting you know, or I'm about to teach you that it's not. Okay, I just wanted to open up the stage with that story for you guys today. Before we get started, before we really dive deep into this and how you are going to realize who you are and if you really are that bitch, is I need you to think of who comes to your mind when you think of that bitch, that girl, Miss Queen. Who is that? Like, who is she? What does she do? What aura does she have? What vibe does she give off? What does she smell like? What does she do for a living? Like, what is she, right? That bitch is somebody who knows that her aura is that. She knows that she comes from a good place. She knows she has a good heart. She doesn't come from a place of hatred. She doesn't come from a place of jealousy. She comes from a place of love, of light, of caring, of peace, of happiness, of forgiving, not holding resentment. That's what that bitch is. I need you to think of what that bitch is to you, okay? Because everybody has a different idea of what that bitch is. My idea can be completely different from your idea, but I need you to figure out who that bitch is to you and how you correlate yourself to her. Because I have said it a million one times on this podcast, every single person that we see, even the people that we make up in our heads, okay? Even like, because we be making up people in our heads. Don't be trying to say you don't. Even like the bitch, right? That bitch we just made up in our heads. I had you guys just make up. Every single person that we see or every single figment of our imagination, there is something in that person, in that figment of imagination that resembles us. every single person that you come across is going to resemble you in some way. You see yourself in every single person you come across. Everybody is a mirror. When you look at your best friend, you are seeing a mirror of yourself. You are seeing who you are, what you lack, what you need to work on. That is what it is to be looking at everybody around you. Same thing with that bitch that's in your mind, right? The bitch that we're like, hell yes, like she's amazing. She is everything that I want to be. When you are looking at that, I need you to understand that you are also looking at yourself. You are seeing quite literally what you have and what maybe you lack and you need to work on. So you need to identify what is that bitch, okay? Make it up in your head, write it down on a piece of paper, write it in your notes on your phone, whatever you got to do to figure out who that bitch is, what she does, what she likes, what aura she is. I need you to do that. And then I want you to do some reflection. We're going to be doing a lot of reflection today, a lot of self-awareness today in today's episode, okay? I need you to figure out who that person is. What is she like? What is she not like, right? And I need you to reflect on, how do I match this person? Do I even match her? Do I not? It doesn't matter if you do or if you don't, you're still that bitch, because that bitch works on herself. She tries to elevate herself. She tries to make her frequency get higher and higher. She heals. She's constantly a work in progress. That's what that bitch is. So even if you're looking at the figment of your imagination, what you feel like that bitch is, and you're like, this resembles nothing that I am. If you're thinking that this girl does yoga every single day, she eats healthy, she's vegan, and she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, she has a really happy relationship, but you are the quite complete opposite of that, I want you to realize that you are still her, because her works on herself and you work on yourself, so you are still the same. That just means that the figment of your imagination that you have created of that bitch, quote unquote, that bitch, okay, just might be a future version of you. It just might not be the present version of you, but we gonna get there. We're gonna get there by working, by reflecting, by being self-aware. We really are her. It does not matter if you are her in that moment right now, what she resembles. You are her. She might be a future version of you. She might be a past version of you, but doesn't matter. She is you. You are her. You are that bitch, okay? Being that bitch means you embrace your power and the power that you hold. So I need you to start embracing your power, because you already have it. Like I just did a whole spiel about, we already are that bitch. We just need to like tap in. We just need to unlock her. I need you to embrace your power as well, because that bitch embraces her power. She does not let people walk all over her. She does not stay true to herself. Okay, so I need you to start doing the same thing. More than likely, if you're already listening to this podcast, you are somebody who wants to work on yourself. You're probably somebody that's already unlocking your power a little bit. You're somebody who is trying to learn and trying to grow. I need you to embrace your power, because that's what that is. Being that bitch is embracing your power and not being ashamed of it. Because if you're listening to this episode, you are more than likely somebody who struggles with acknowledging that you are that bitch, that you are that girl. And the reason why you will struggle to acknowledge that you really are her is because you believe what somebody has told you. You believe that somebody has told you one time, somewhere, someplace in your life, that you aren't that bitch, that you shouldn't feel like you are that bitch, that you need to tone it down, that you aren't enough. And I don't understand, and I will never understand, why the hell we try to believe somebody that we would never want to be. Why do you believe Why do you believe anything that somebody says that you wouldn't want to be them? If you wouldn't want to be them, if you don't admire something within them, if you don't like their energy, if you don't like their aura, if you don't like who they are as a person, why the hell do you believe them when they tell you you aren't that bitch, that you need to tone it down, that you aren't enough? You cannot be listening to those types of people, because those people don't give off that bitch energy. Okay, even the mean girls, the mean cute, quote unquote cute girls that are out there that try to tell you that you aren't that bitch, or that they think that they're the cool girl and you're not the cool girl, you need to understand that they really aren't that bitch. They are putting on a persona, because that bitch would never do that. That bitch doesn't look at people like they're beneath them. That bitch doesn't tell the other people that they're not good enough. That's not what that bitch, that cool girl, is at all. So when you believe somebody who has tried to put on this persona that they are in fact that, I need you to look them in the face and realize that it is a facade. They don't know how to really become what you truly are, and they see that in you and they want to bring it down because they don't want people to know that they're a fraud, that the facade that they have put on of being quote unquote that bitch isn't even real. And when they see a real one, they need to tear it down immediately, because it is the biggest form of competition to them, because it is the biggest threat. It's yes, it's 100% competition, but it is a threat to them. And then when you believe them, you are letting them win. You are letting the facade and the fakeness and the mask win. And you are handing them your power. But you can, at the same time though, as much as you are that bitch, you can snatch your power back at any single moment from anybody in your life, whether it be the cool girl that tries to make you think that you really aren't that bitch, whether it be the toxic man, the toxic parents in your life, the horrible workplace, the mean ass friend you have. It does not matter. You can wake up one day, you can feel this right now and wake up and realize, I am snatching my fucking power back, and I am realizing that I really am that bitch. I'm gonna start showing up like her. So I need you to hear this, understand that you truly are her, and start showing up like her. The more and more that women, the ones that are really that bitch, that show up and act like her and present like her, the more and more the fakes and the facades will start to dwindle away. If you are listening to this podcast, any of my listeners, I know that you are that bitch, because I know no mean ass, facade ass, fake ass bitch will be listening to my podcast. Okay? Only real bitches, those bitches, listen to this podcast. So if you're going to listen to anything that I'm going to say today, you are going to listen to that I know for a fact that this is a club, okay? We are in a club. There is a checkpoint at the door. And if you are past the door and you're listening to this podcast, you're this far into this episode, that means you already are her. You are already that bitch. We just got to get you to start showing up like her. That is the only difference. You are already her. We just got to get you to actually own it, believe it. Because once you believe it, it just starts to ooze out of you. You are already her. We just got to make you believe it. And this is how you are going to believe that you really are that bitch. Is because I need you to look at everything that surrounds you, everything that you are doing in your life, the way that you feel in your heart and your soul. You have the choice to choose if you are going to be her or if you're not going to be her. That is the only difference of becoming that bitch, is actually choosing to be her. You are already her. You just have to choose. I'm going to start showing up like her. I'm going to start acting like her. I'm going to start being her, because you are already her. But we have an ego side. We have a dark side. We have a side that tells us, no, you're not. No, you are not her. What makes you think that you're better, or that you're good, or that you're good enough? Our ego will tell you that till they're blue in the fucking face. But you need to choose. No, I know that I am. I know what I embody. I know that my energy is good. I know that my heart is good. Because you know, at the end of the day, dust settles. When everything is done at the end of the day, you know that you live with trueness in your heart. You know that you live with good energy. You know that you don't want to see harm on anybody. And that is what makes you that bitch. And when you start to realize that that's what makes you that bitch, and not this fake ass, phony ass shit out here of, oh, I'm a cool girl, oh, I'm not, oh, I go to Pilates, oh, I do this, oh, I do that, I drive this type of car, I wear this type of clothes. That does not make you that bitch. What makes you that bitch is having good energy, is having positivity, is loving people, is having self-love and self-worth, and appreciating yourself and appreciating those around you, and having sisterhood. That's what makes you that bitch. And you need to understand that you already got that. You can't go buy that anywhere on the street. You can't go pick it up and just randomly decide one day I'm going to start being that person. No, it's who you are to your core. You were born being that bitch. You truly were. You don't have to try to be her. You were already born being her. You just have to choose. I'm going to start showing up like her. I'm going to actually start embodying her. I'm not going to allow other people, all the outside noise, to make me think that I'm really not her, because I know that I am her to my core. Okay, you need to start living your life like that and realize. And when you start to realize and start to live your life that way, you will realize that it oozes into every other part of your life. You start to be able to set your boundaries a lot easier. You start to embody your power. You start to believe in yourself. You start to have less self-doubt. You start to love yourself more. It just oozes into every single part of your life, because the only difference between not being that bitch and being that bitch is believing in yourself. That is the only fucking difference. And when you finally believe in yourself, that's when everything else starts to unlock for you, my love. So you have to understand that you already are that bitch. That's why this episode wasn't a how-to. It wasn't a this is how you become that bitch. This is how you start to embody her. No, it's about realizing that you are already her. You are already that bitch. And you need to find that bitch in your friend group. You need to find that bitch in your outside life. Like, you know how in the movie Barbie, I'm sure all of y'all watched the movie Barbie. I love that movie so much, okay? But you know how in the movie Barbie, when the men take over and it becomes Kenland and all that stuff, and there's a little group of the Barbies that are like banding together, and they're like, we have to like hypnotize these girls and make them come out of it and realize that they've been in this trance this whole time, and we got to wake them up. That is what figuring out being that you are that bitch kind of is the more that you band together and realize, like, you guys, we really are that bitch. We really do have all that power. We really are her. We are that it girl. We already are her. You will start to kind of hypnotize all the other girls out there, like, bitch, hello, wake the fuck up. You really are her. The more that you embody that and the more that you feel that, the more you will inspire others to realize that they are that too. That is what womanhood, sisterhood is inspiring others around you to wake up and realize that we need to lead with love, because again, being that bitch is leading with love. Being that bitch is having like an aura that is hypnotizing, that brings people in, that is euphoric. That is being that bitch, not this fake ass shit out here. Okay, so you need to embody that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can take that power away from you. If they have already tried, or if they already have, you can snatch back your power at any given moment. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I want you to remember that you really are that bitch at all times. At any given moment, you are that bitch. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week on the Bestie Talk podcast. Bye.